balancing phones this time. I assume you can hear me. I'm balancing my phone and my other phone. Wish I had a tablet too for references. I could use 3 devices. My fingernails are not done. They are very bad. I apologize. I can't find nail polish remover. Thank you. That's my disclaimer. We're working on the Kabayan. That's how I'm pronouncing it. Fire mummies. I don't know where I get to chat. I assume it's just going to pop up when somebody comes in. Aha! Can I type in the chat? I don't know. I can see it. Ooh, I can pin you. Ha. Cool. Sorry, my first time streaming on the phone. I also have media on my other phone, so if you hear any mumbling, it's YouTube drama channels. My other ear. It's my ADHD. I can't just sit and draw easily. You're officially a pinup girl. Congrats. Did I make you a moderator? I'm gonna make you a moderator at some point, probably, too. Oh, no, so far I'm so small I don't need moderators. But you never know. I'm also out in the public now. Like, you can scroll to find me, but until I get 1,000, what you may call it? Until I get 1,000 subscribers, it's going to be throttled to 25 plus my subscriber count. So I can have 75 people in here total, I think. Hello, thank you. I'm doing Kabayan. They're the, where is it? It's the Fire Mummies of the Philippines. That's what it is. It's hard because I'm drawing a skeleton in shrink wrap skin, so it's not quite a skeleton. I don't know. Can I like stuff? Can I like a post? No, I just pin it. Cool. Sorry for tummy noises. Need to bring in this jawline somewhere. What's going on here? I want it not square. Square's the wrong one. I want it more diamond shaped here. I got so good because I am 32 years old and I have just never ever stopped. I do have books around me that are like how to draw books, which I check in on sometimes, but 90% of the time, I just force myself to draw stuff repeatedly until it looks good. Some of the secrets with pencil art in particular is that you always want to use multiple pencils. A single pencil will never give you a good enough range, right? So I start with, come with me to this corner. So this isn't, what am I on, 2H I think is this one? 3H. This is a 3H. And then, I want to show, I'll do it in HB, usually don't use, this is an HB. Right, and I'm putting the same amount of pressure. Sorry, this is an HB2. And then I have my 2B next to me. And so with the same amount of pressure, each of these pencils is giving a darker shade because the graphite is softer. So if you use 3 different pencils, you're gonna get so many more, like so much more depth than you would if you just use one pencil, gently, medium, and dark. Because I can also come in, I don't know if you guys can tell, it especially shows up in the, when I'm pressing harder, the difference in the color shows up a lot. Goes back to my 2B. B. This is my 3H. So when you add, it really shows, I'll grab a bigger, darker pencil. There's an 8. And then I'm going to bring my 8 next to my 2. So I don't know if you can tell the difference in that, but when I start drawing and lining in a darker color, you will really notice the difference. Currently on this guy, I sketched it out with the 3H, or an F. Sometimes I use an F. I have an F over here too. Anything under a B or an HB. And then I've been working on it with the 2B, going directly in because it's not a very complicated picture. There's not a lot of tones to it. I'm just blending in. But, yeah. The secret to drawing in graphite is to just use a billion pencils. When I'm doing a big piece, I slowly go from lightest to darkest. I'll show you what my big piece is here. Something like this, where I'm actually like going in and working each individual thing. I have a lot more color ranges, but for the sketchbook, just flexing my creativity, I don't worry too much. You also might catch me shading with my finger in a sketchbook because putting finger oil into a sketchbook doesn't matter because I won't be working that area of paper as much, because finger oil deposits on the paper and makes it so that everything's harder to remove, like the graphite blends into the paper better. So if I want to be putting down and picking up graphite constantly to do a nicer piece, it's not as good, but if I'm just going fast, it doesn't really matter. Right now I'm using a blending stump that's just been preloaded. I've had this for way too long. I need new ones, but I haven't gotten around to it. I don't like buying them in big packs. I like to go buy them individually at the university or wherever. What is that? find this in particular, the blending stump, really gives texture to these mummy skin. I'm just using the color that's already on it because I know it's via pressure. I know that this blending stump is dark as heck. Come back with my 2B. That's enough. Yeah, Jess, you want to go in with the 4H for the circles and guidelines. Like stuff like this, right? That's the darker one, but you definitely want to go in with the light one because if you press lightly and don't put a lot of pressure in with the lightest pencil, it will always remove off the paper really easily. So you can even erase over top of stuff you already have. But you have to be careful because the lighter the pencil, the harder the graphite, and the more it will score your page. But yeah, I go from like, I'd use a 4H or a 2H to sketch. I often use an HB if I'm only using one pencil, and then a 2B and 4B are great for just refining your darkest points. For you, I would mostly stay in lighter pencils because you're not doing a lot of shading, you're still doing form. So you're going to want to do sketching with light pencils, and then just like, if you could use a mechanical eraser, or mechanical pencil for your line art might help you a lot, because you're just starting out and not really shading that much. So right now you're going to be working on shape and form, which is planning your shapes with your light sketches and then outlining the line areas darker. For now, because you're just starting out, you just get to doodle like a kid would as you learn to do any skill, right? Like you have to suck at something for a little while, so if you're not comfortable sucking at something, you're not going to be able to get better at it. So I always say to people just starting out drawing, go make bad art. You're allowed. You have my permission to go and draw, just go fill your sketchbooks with stuff that just looks really bad. You're okay. You're allowed. That's how you figure out how to do it, is you draw it poorly a couple times, and then you go, wow, that looks bad. What do I need to do to make it better? And if you're self-taught, that's all it is. It's just that going around and around and around. I wouldn't recommend self-taught unless you are poor and incredibly creative. I'm autistic, so the art's in me. I do it as a stim. I do it as a coping technique. I do it as a way of expressing myself. So I will always have that drive to draw. But school is really good for teaching how to draw even when you don't want to. It gives you the mathematical background so that you can force stuff out even if the faucet's only a little on. So this is my tiny eraser. I stand by these 100%. It's essential. I have a medium one as well, but it isn't as important to me. So this size and shape is the same amount as my other one. It's just round, so I just use this because I don't care. But being able to put little highlights in your graphite work with a tiny pencil, if you're doing any form of shading, will immediately improve the look of it. You can see even these like ribs down here. I'm trying to get the top of the scapula there. I didn't look up references for this, but I do draw skeletons quite a bit. I've been trying. So it's not anatomically accurate per se, but it vibes. Oftentimes when I'm drawing zombies or stuff like this, I'm just trying to go on vibes. I want it to have an undead vibe, not a... I refer to studies as a drawing that is done with a reference with the intention of improving my visual library. Whereas sketchbook sessions, I'm literally just making the pencil go. So if stuff looks bad or you see flaws in it, oh well. That's sketching. Do we want to go over this with another darker one? This eye is bugging me. I don't know what's wrong with it, but I don't like just not have enough eyebrow ridge. I don't know. So I'm gonna muck with it until it looks better, or until I give up. I don't win every battle. The shape of eye sockets is really hard for me. That's what I've been struggling with lately. Especially because this is not a true socket. It is eyeballs that have like sealed over with skin. Hopefully YouTube doesn't mind that I'm like a horror artist. I'm really excited that I've been getting attention for some of my more horror art because I drew a lot of cutesy things for most of my life in order to gain attention through my art, because nobody really liked the weird stuff I drew. Looks like a rake, doesn't he? Oh, there's my 2B. Let's go dig up another pencil. Other random Q&A things, my favorite brand, Staedtler. These German pencils just get me every time. They don't reflect as much like a silver. Is that coming from Waylon? I bet you he'd understand. I feel like it has to do with right here. See, I'm getting frustrated, so I'm starting to smudge with my finger. That looks okay though, like it's still spooky. I think I fixed it a little bit there with whatever was going on with that inner brow shape. Like this one's really, like the eye socket isn't as, how do I explain it? Isn't as indented, it's like more out. Whereas this one, I wanted it to go in a bit deeper in the corners. And then this is just shaded nicely, not accurately, because that's the way I like to. That's currently my issue with art is I have to start separating what looks accurate and what looks good. Because a lot of my art I've been doing what looks good instead of how things actually look. It's weird because that's how I'm looking at it. When I see it like, yeah, there. I see it from down here and he looks much more jawy. It's kind of cool. Hee 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 hoo hoo hoo. Let's roll. What did I drop? Was there a marker? Nice. I have a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, I have a whole bunch of stuff on my desk. Off to the side here. I'll just briefly show you. Dun dun dun. So I've been dropping it. Sorry if you can hear me move the phone and it's bad. I can't hear anything that's going on for us. It's a mystery to me. I've been thinking about. Oh, maybe we could work on something else. Let me see. Is there anything in here we can work on? I don't know what I'm doing with this. It was mostly just me trying to figure out grass texture. Goral World. I haven't really done anything with this either. I was just working on this like color design mostly. And then you know those infinite light tubes? That's what I wanted to do with his face. I think this one's done in an HB or an H or something without anything over top of it. Right? Yeah, when I put that in, you can tell it's much darker than everything else. I need to get a sanding block for my pencils. And a sharpening knife, but whenever I use a carving knife to like whittle down my pencils, I go through my pencils very fast. Which is weird because they can mostly last me forever if I don't lose a step on them. Very bad for dropping and stepping on my pencils. I have very bad ADHD. This is gonna be like a glowing orb, I think. That's what the like doo-doo light inside the floating mitts, because I was thinking about this being KK in armor or something. which gives him fingers that he doesn't normally have, because KK doesn't have any arms. He's the weird cow-eared thing that I draw. He's in one of my recent shorts. I think it was KK and Fruit Maggots. He was in there. And then these ears now are from the movie Chappie, which I have headcanoned is just my favorite robot thing. Oh, that was not a straight line. Wow. None of those lines were straight because it was so far away from my shoulder base, like I'm reaching forward to pull it in a bit. There we go. The secret for straight lines is a billion years of practice, because you have to do the weightlifting for your hand to have good control. And also, you point A, point B, you want to start here while looking there. So I start here, look at where I'm going, it's here, and then I go, and connect it. And when you get really good at that, lines will be much, much, much cleaner. Should I draw a connection on this side? I think you'd be able to see where his, like... I don't know. I don't care that much. The best part about sketchbook stuff is that I can just kind of not if I don't care. Interesting. Yeah, when you're just starting out, you don't really need blendy pencils, because blending into shape and form is kind of where you get once you start actually learning, whereas you guys are in the pre-learning phase where you're just establishing the will to art. Then as you get a couple art things under your belt, I'll start giving you structural tips and stuff of how to plan your art, because you have the drafting background, so I think it should be easy. You just gotta build the skill and the mental skill. See, right there was really rough, but that's okay. If I was drawing something more important, I would have to have it closer to my body again, so I would have pulled it all the way up here. But because I'm trying to get a good view for the stream, I am reaching out and doing slightly messier lines. The worst thing I can do while I'm streaming, which I do sometimes, is look at the viewfinder instead of my paper. Oh boy, that makes weird stuff happen. Because the viewfinder's at a different angle as well. I'm taller than it. Viewfinder, God. Sounding old. I don't know where these little headphone things came from. I don't have it on any other variation. I can feel my stomach trying to grumble. Hush, tummy. His tail looks even rougher here than normal. It's normally like a skin and bone tail, but like just the amount of wriggles going on here makes it look just mulched. It's okay, I don't mind. I think I do have another angle of KK if everybody wants to see him. Let's see. I'll do a little bit of a flip back to, there we go. There's KK. He's also got a little piercing thing that has a little number tag on it because he's technically cattle. He's like a, how do you explain it? A pack animal, a semi-awakened pack animal, basically. He's not quite people, but he's close. I don't even know if he talks. I haven't decided yet. Even though I've had him for like 13 years. It's like this little weird skinny donkey tail. Oh yeah. Yeah, anatomy's hard because okay. Your brain knows what human body parts look like. But your brain has parts to it that combine what a human body looks like, right? So like your social center knows what a body looks like, but your art center does not. So when you draw something slightly wrong, your social center goes, what is that? Is that supposed to be something? Whereas your art center's like, yeah, that's the best I got. So until you get your art center up, your social center is going to call you out a lot. That's why realism is so hard, I find, is because even if something's slightly off, my brain can tell. Whereas if it's stylized, you're like, yeah, that's a passable face. Sure. As a fun fact, this guy's skin tone is like a deep peacock green. With yellow eyes. I don't like that. It's at the tip. This is one of the parts of art that doesn't look hard but takes the most skill, is being able to scribble within the lines. Like, this is the practice for it. That's a good skill to have. So yeah, the biggest thing with art is that you have to refine the tiny muscles in your hand in order to be able to accurately produce the strokes that you want. So you have to teach your brain what kind of strokes you want by learning art, and then you have to teach your brain how to tell your hands to get the exact stroke that you want. So that alone means that you cannot instantly earn art. You have to work at it because your muscles have to learn the same way, working out does. So even if you're not drawing anything important, like I will draw like pears and stuff when I don't know what to doodle, it's still good to practice drawing and shading and just using those muscles as much as possible. That's how you get rounder circles too. Depending on your muscles, this is what my circles look like when I'm not doing well. My thumb pulls it down, and that's because I have repetitive muscle injury in my thumb. So when my hands get really tight, I notice that it loops down that way. KK definitely is one of those characters that comes from the mean part of me growing up that wanted to document suffering, because he's not a happy guy, depending on who owns him at the time. Because he's, you know, beast of burden. But he also has my favorite doodling body design. Things I find really hard to draw are horses from the front and anything from the with 4 legs from the direct back. The booty do not make sense. Whoop, wrong ear. Tags on this ear. Anatomy's rough. It always will be. The hard to see, you're coming in on the furry angle, and the problem with the furry angle is that you are drawing neither a person nor an animal. You are drawing a slightly personified animal. Right? Because if you just put a dog head on top of a furry, it still looks strange because you have to take the spine. So, dog. Right, so, you're moving instead of coming out here, the spine's coming out down here, and instead of the eye ridge being like this low slope, generally you're gonna make it a little bit more like this so that you can have a bigger, more expressive eye. And that's the main problem. So learning to do that is so hard. Different species make it harder. I'm better with cats than I am with dogs. Let's see if I can actually erase this. I do this really hard with a 2B. But I also don't care about sketching over dirty paper in my sketchbook, especially because I'm so far into this one. Doesn't matter. It's from the dollar store. I don't think I'm going to be working on sketchbooks this big anymore. Because while it's nice to fill in a background on stuff, I end up drawing like 3 things per page instead. But yeah, furries are actually extra hard, just so you know. And also, that's why when people learn how to draw furries, they like, if that's the only thing you draw, it's kind of hard to get into either animals or humans because you have learned the in-between anatomy of both. That's also why some really, really good artists, you'll see them draw stuff and it looks wrong because they literally just stuck a wolf head on top of a human, and that ends up looking more like an Egyptian god and not quite a furry. Some anthropomorphic animals are like that too. Okay. I need to get one of those big old brushes that I can swoop away all my dust with. One of those gigantic fan brushes. All right. What am I doing? What do I want to do? I don't know what I want to do. I think I'm going to jump down for a second, save this recording, and then I will jump back up when I get inside again. So I will see you